Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pirates Parley, episode 16. This week, I have none other than Phil Jacobson from Altitude, which is part of the Squads team, on, and they just 15 minutes ago made a announcement, and we're gonna walk you through it. Please give a warm welcome to Phil Jacobson. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me, Steve. How are you
Yeah.
doing?
Uh, I'm glad to have you. So yeah, let's start with a quick introduction. Where you're calling from. Let's start there. Where are you located?
I live in Canada. I'm in Toronto specifically.
Nice. And is the rest of the team there as well, or are you working fully remote?
No, we're fully remote. The company is super globally distributed. We have folks in I don't know a ton of different spots. It's actually the most globally distributed group I've worked inside of, which is super cool. It's been really fun.
Nice. And how long have you been with the team?
I joined in at the very beginning of January full time, and so 4 months or so, but definitely feels like a little bit longer than 4 months. We got a lot done here, so time moves.
Are you already tired?
Uh, I think we all live in a state of constant tiredness, but no, I actually think I would say I'm quite energized.
All right.
I'm trying to like my whoop tells me I need to sleep more, but no, I'm super energized. I think it's really fun what we're doing here, and yeah, could use a couple more hours though.
Nice. Yeah, I've been trying to hold off on AI telling me what to do, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe in the near future. Hope not.
On like a side note, I got this whoop, and I never ran before, and I started seeing all the data, and it was like, hey, you're aging faster than you should, and the reason is because you don't sleep enough and you don't run, and you're in bad cardio. And I'm like, I should fix that. So now I run, and I've been like doing it for a few months, and the AI didn't tell me to do it, but the data was like, hey, dude, it's time to level up. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
really motivating. Like I have a smartwatch as well, and I really look at how much steps I got in on a day. I do
yeah.
swimming myself. I'm more of
Oh,
a
nice.
yeah.
Swimming's good.
Well, I
Swimming's
work at Trident, so it's got to be water related, right? So tell
good.
me a little bit about how is altitude different from squads, and what is it actually?
Yeah, totally. I think the way we like to kind of frame it is squads is for tokens and programs. Altitude is for financial operations. And those two things pair really nicely together. If you need to manage, your tokens, your upgrade authorities, etc. Squads is amazing. People love it. We love it. We're continuing to invest and grow it. Uh, we observe that a lot of people start to use squads as a product to manage financial operations, which it wasn't purpose built for. And at the same time, stablecoins started to really accelerate. And there was a clear opportunity to really establish a standalone product. And that's what Altitude is. And it's, purpose built to be a platform to manage your financial operations. We call it a financial operating system built completely on stablecoin infrastructure.
Nice. So yeah, what is it like? Should I consider it a bank, or is it banking related? What are its limitations, versus a traditional bank? Maybe that's the better question. Are there any
Yeah.
limitations?
Yeah, Altitude is not a bank. It's a financial OS built on stablecoin rails, and it does what you need to run your financial operations. So holding your treasury, using your treasury, making payments across both stablecoin rails, but also fiat rails. We have like deep integrations with a series of orchestrators that allow us to move money across currencies and across fiat rails, whether that's Swift or ACH or SEPA or Wire, etc. And then also to be able to actually manage the operations of your finances. And so accounting integrations, proper, all the stuff that gets involved with financial ops. I oversaw that all at Tensor, so I have a pretty good grasp of what's involved. And Altitude essentially centralizes all the different tools that you need. So instead of having a tool for treasury and a tool for cards and a tool for payments and a tool for FX and a tool to earn yield on your money, we centralize the stack, all built on stablecoin infrastructure in a way that allows you to like run your end-to-end financial operations. The end state is that you shouldn't need other tools. You shouldn't need a bank. I think that blockchains and stablecoins really allow us now to be able to build a financial operations experience where you don't have to have your money sitting in a bank anymore. You can actually have it live securely on chain and have it live in a product like Altitude, where you can then manage your day-to-day financial ops. And that's really what we are focused on building. It's what we raised the money to really bring to market.
Nice. So what is the upside of having this versus traditional tools? Like, is there an upside?
I mean, there's a lot of upsides. I think a lot of it comes down to control. Your money is there. Stablecoins are reserved one-to-one. You can see it. We're very focused on USDC. You can see the reserves that USDC has. It is not fractionally reserved, where money in banks is. We've seen some of the challenges of that faces in the past. So you're in full control. And when you're in full control, you can do what you want with your money when you want to do it, where you want to do it. Also, the beauty of stablecoins is they're instant. So when you're using stablecoin rails, you can move money instantly. You can have it settle instantly, 24/7 hours a day, 365 days a week. But of course, your counterparties, they still aren't all fully stablecoin adopted. And so that's where we have those deep integrations to be able to move money across traditional banking rails.
So this is, I think, pretty exciting.
Me too.
Well, that's good. Yeah. So I had a really good question in mind, and it'll come back. It's here. Is your product the future of banking in that case, or shall we always be in need of banks?
I definitely think that it's a little bit cheesy to say, but like what Uber did to taxis, I think Altitude has the opportunity to do to banking products. And does that mean taxis don't exist? No, they're still around. But there's a new, better, different way to move around a city, and then we call that Uber. There's a new, better, and different way to hold, earn, and move money, and we call that Altitude. And I think that should we be successful, which I think we will be, and we're going to do our damn best to build something astronomically large, we will shift the paradigm on what banking looks like and feels like, because we're really redefining it from first principles.
Awesome. Yeah, I know very little about banking, but I do know what fractional reserve banking is. That is where a bank only needs to actually own 10% of the money that they are lending out. So yeah, everything is just really just numbers on a screen. It's not really backed by anything other than that 10%. So when you go to a bank and it's low on capital, there might be a situation where they say, you can't withdraw all of your money because we don't have it right now. But you're saying that with Altitude, you can verify that your money is actually there. Is it like a non-custody solution, or does the Altitude Treasury hold the custody over these stablecoins?
Yeah, we don't custody customer assets, and so Altitude is built on multi-sig technology, and you're in full control. We wrote a blog post just with the raise that we put out, the announcement an hour ago, kind of explaining that architecturally, like a nice visual to kind of make it clear for some people who are less familiar can understand. But it's full self-custody, and so you are in full control. You are in control of your money, and we believe the future will look like a world where people at scale are in control of their money. I think it's interesting you said this idea of like numbers on a screen. It's actually, that idea is what got me really, really crypto pilled a long time ago, probably in like 2018, 19, when I started to recognize that these numbers you see on the screen when you log into your online banking, they're just numbers. Like the money is not there. And if you actually want to like move any meaningful size, forget meaningful size, if you want to move over like 10K, it's a headache. And there's a lot of friction to do so. Because you're not really in control of your money. And there's a number of different challenges. You spoke to some of them before. That really got me excited about crypto a long time ago. And I think what's beautiful about stablecoins is like the number you see on the screen can be verified on chain, and you hold the keys. And so you can do what you want to do when you want to do it with that money. And I think that this just feels like, I guess, obvious to me. But what's been difficult is self-custody comes with challenges. And so, multi-sig was built on trying to solve those challenges and did a really fantastic job on Solana. Altitude is designed to simplify that even further and build a product that feels like the fintechs you're used to, but is built on this new infrastructure with the right systems around it so that you can actually run your business on stablecoins and do so in a way that feels as seamless as the modern kind of fintech experiences that everybody is used to.
So in that sense, Altitude is really challenging the system by, with fiat, you're also not like, you're not the owner of the money. It's your turn to use it, but it's still owned by the central bank that issued the money, right? So does this mean that, you actually control and own your money supply, basically? Is that a good way to perceive it, or is that like...
Well, that's a whole conversation. It's less Altitude and that's more stablecoins. I mean, stablecoins are still US dollars that are, wrapped treasuries on chain. And so I'm not sure if we get away from central bank. That's more the Bitcoin story, and we'll see how that plays out in the long term. You can hold wrapped Bitcoin on Altitude. So if that's something that's interesting for you, that you want to diversify your treasury, and we do support that in the product. That's a choice that, someone running their finances has to make. And that's not something that you have to do. We support it, but it's a choice. I think that, holding and being in control of your own assets, being able to move them at 2 a.m. on Saturday and being able to move $10 million to your counterparty because you need to, you should be able to do that. Obviously, you should be able to do it in a secure fashion, and there needs to be like the infrastructure around it to do it in a way where you can have trust and confidence. But you should be in control. You shouldn't have somebody else or a bank say, hey, no, or hey, it's going to take us 2 weeks to make sure we have that liquidity for you able to move that type of money or whatever it might be. And so that's where we believe things are heading, and we're trying to build the infrastructure and the product experience that just makes that seamless.
Nice. But there's also a counter argument to be made there, right? Security wise.
Totally.
So how does Altitude approach that? Or is it like, all right, you chose self-custody,
Yeah, so Altitude is built on a nested smart account model. And so your account is a smart account, and then each user is a smart account. And so you can set those permissions and parameters at the account level. So you could say at the account level, every single transaction requires a 3 of 5 signer. Then you could also set that each individual user has to be a 2 of 4 signer. So for example, if you're on the account as a user, I'm on the account as a user, and person X is on the account as a user, it can be set up so that we all each have to have a 2 of 4 on our own, and the actual account level to move any money has to also be 3 of 5. So when a transaction is proposed, you need all 3 folks to sign, and each person in and of themselves has to multi-sig as well. And so you actually have like quite a secure setup to be able to move money, and you can set it up in the way that you want. You can go really robust and have YubiKeys and ledgers and etc. You can go a little bit simpler, and you can have passkeys and multi-email backups. We integrate with Privy and Turnkey support on that side. So really, like, the setup is up to the user to be able to go as robust as they want or as simple as they want. We default on the user account level at 2 of 4 because we think that that is the bare minimum. But it is ultimately up to the user when you're in control to choose what you want to do with your money and your setup. But we've designed a system that has the multi-layered approach to how we do on-chain security using all of the technology and learnings from Squads.
That's crazy. I like it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Honestly, getting deep into it and like wrapping my own mind around how cool the system is that we've built, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing.
So with what type of user in mind was this built? Like, is it for crypto teams, or is this also for, people outside of Web3, if you will?
Yeah, we're seeing customers across tons of different sectors and segments join Altitude. I think we like to kind of say like Altitude is a financial OS built for businesses on the frontier. If you're on the edge of whatever industry you're working in, whether it's AI or biotech or crypto, et cetera, you may be thinking about stablecoins. You may be already using stablecoins. Altitude is the best place to run your business if you have stablecoins in the mix of how you're operating. If you don't believe in stablecoins, we'll let the market educate you and you'll get there over time. We're laser focused on people who care about stablecoins. It's a very big market and it's growing very quickly. We are, as Altitude today, really, 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 really laser focused on if you're a business operating in crypto, you should be using Altitude. Doesn't matter what chain you're on. Doesn't matter really what you do inside of crypto, besides the fact that it needs to be legitimate. Everybody on our platform is KYB'd. It is not fully permissionless, like a very robust compliance engine, etc. But if you're a business operating in crypto, you should be running your business on Altitude. And over time, we will continue to put a lot of effort into bringing other segments of customers in. But just organically, we're seeing a lot come in from, tons of different kind of frontier categories.
So do you think that Altitude is leading the charge when it comes to global crypto adaptation?
We're doing our damn best.
All right.
I'd like to say definitively yes, but I think I have very high expectations of myself and the team, and I think that there's always more to do. And I wake up every single morning and I sit down at my desk and I say, what is the highest leverage thing I can do to help us move faster and grow faster? And sometimes, you spend a day and you're like, was this really the best way to spend my day or not? You're not going to get it right 100% of the time, but I really think about that a lot so that we can ultimately truly lead the charge in, global adoption of, finance that can live on chain in a way that can actually be usable for businesses globally.
Nice. So what got you so invested in, because I can tell you're really passionate about this. What really brought you into this sector, if you will?
Similar to a lot of folks, I was playing around on chain many years ago, having a lot of fun with NFTs and this, that, and the other. And I made a few angel investments in the space. One of those was Tensor. I had met those folks. They actually were based in Toronto, so that's how we connected. And then a couple years later, started chatting with Richard and Ilya, and we started talking about working together, and I decided to actually join Tensor. And so I was the VP of operations at Tensor for just under 2 years, up until we sold the company to Coinbase at the end of last year. And so I was operating in crypto and was overseeing a lot of things at Tensor, one of those things being finance. One of the products I was using very deeply at Tensor was Squads, which is how I knew Squads. I would say relatively intimately from a user perspective, but we have unbelievable support. So I had a direct line with the founders and with the team. And I mean, I'm sure as Triton. And so when I was thinking about, post Tensor, I was really thinking what are the most interesting opportunities that have the opportunity to be 1,000 or a 10,000x type business. And that's where I started to really pay attention to Squads and started to have some chats with Stepan. And I really, really believed in his thesis, which he's written extensively about online, about what they were doing with Squads and what they were doing with Altitude specifically. And we started talking. We had a lot of good conversations and kind of got to a point where it was hey, I think A, we could work really well together. B, I'm extremely vision aligned. And C, it appears that I have the skill set that is required for the stage of the business that we're at. And so, decided to join full time. Took some time off, obviously, after the Tensor acquisition closed, but then kind of hit the ground running at the beginning of 2026. My girlfriend wanted me to take a little bit more time, but who needs to take more than 5 weeks?
Wow, that's amazing. So it's fairly fresh. What was the most surprising in your, short time you've been with multi-sig?
What's the most surprising?
What did you not expect about maybe the culture or the team or?
I really did my diligence. So I tried to avoid surprises, but I'm sure there are things that did surprise me. I guess like one thing is probably not like the best answer, but how like well-oiled of a machine the team works, considering the global distribution of the team. I like have not been inside of an organization that has had so many folks in so many different countries, yet somehow like everyone is responsive, and it's really fun to wake up on Eastern hours and like all the folks in Europe have been working for a few hours. So there's like a lot of momentum happening the moment that you kind of like log on. And then as they kind of go to sleep and you've got momentum, then you go to sleep and then they log on and there's all this continued momentum. So like the company feels like this like machine that is always running, and we move really fast. And I think that this wasn't a surprise, but like one thing I think Squads does unbelievably well is we have like such a high bar for taste in terms of the quality of what we put out, whether that be a single tweet or a video, but also our product and how each feature works and like the nuances and the details between around all the interactions and the UI and the UX, and how we think about, how will a user go through this? How can we make it faster? How can we make it simpler? How can we, achieve whatever the goal is that customer's trying to do in like really like an unbelievably thoughtful way. And it's been really great to just observe the team and how we build. And the bar that we set. It's less of a surprise. It's part of why I joined the team, because you could see it from the outside. Then you come to the inside and you kind of see how the cookie's made, and you're like, wow, the ingredients are very good.
Nice. How big is the team?
Like sub 40, somewhere between 35 to 40. So pretty tight knit, which is really nice because you can know everybody on a first name basis. You can have like really nice relationships inside the company. We will continue to grow. We're hiring like a ton of different roles right now. I've hired a lot of folks in the last 4 months. But yeah, about call it 40. So it's a couple less.
So about the same as Triton.
Nice. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's nice.
Small enough to be a startup.
Yeah, I find when you grow past like 100, it starts to get difficult.
Yeah.
Especially in a remote environment. Like 2 companies ago, I kind of joined in like the mid 20s, and we took it to like 120 something. And yeah, you'd get to like a full company kind of in-person thing. And there are folks that like you just have not really spoke to before. So yeah, that's also something I think about, like as we scale the company, how do we really make sure the culture can scale too? And I don't have some like perfect answer to that question. It's just like something that lives in the back of my mind.
Scaling the culture is really, really hard, I think.
Oh yeah. The thing is, it's like so company dependent. It's super nuanced. There's not like a clean playbook to do it. Anyone that tells you there's a clean playbook to do it, I think is looking for engagement on Twitter. I think you just kind of got to just go with it as you grow the company, and like stages of the business, it shifts. I think like you can scale this culture to 50, 60, 70. What starts to happen at 80, 90, 100? By the time you're like 150, 200, things shift. That's as far as I've taken the headcount of a company in the past. So it's like, maybe one day we'll take it way bigger than that, and I'll let you know how it went.
Well, looking forward to it. Yeah, I know quite a few people from the team.
Yes.
And yeah, I think you guys are setting a pretty high bar when it comes to whatever you guys are doing in that moment. I'm really looking forward to next week, because it's going to be
it's gonna be fun. We've got this really great activation at Accelerate. Booth looks unbelievable. I don't want to front run it, but the team's done some really great work on it, and I'm really excited to see it come to life, because it looks cool like on the screen, but like what's it going to look like when we see it in the way that we have designed it? And I guess I'll find out on Monday. I'm very excited, actually.
All right. Yeah. Keen on figuring it out. If you are coming to Consensus in Miami and are coming to Accelerate, you should definitely check out the Altitude booth. If you're watching live, feel free to drop a little hello in the chat and ask your questions if you have any. So tell me about the announcement you guys just released. You guys raised $18 million. What is that going to be used for? What can we expect from a customer perspective or an ecosystem perspective, for that matter?
Yeah, it's like at the highest level, it's like team, product, and growth. And so we've raised this capital to accelerate everything we're doing with Altitude. And what that ends up looking like in practice is We need to add more folks to the team in areas that we are lacking, of which there are many. The team is quite small considering the scale of the business. We need to accelerate go-to-market and growth. We are growing quickly. You can grow faster. There's a lot to do there. A lot of that is what I spend my time thinking about. There's a lot to do from a product perspective. The product's amazing right now, but the ceiling as to how far you can take it is like effectively infinite. And so there's a lot to do. It's a complex product behind the scenes and under the hood. There's a lot of moving pieces, and there's a lot we need to invest in to really take it to the next level. And so the money is a tool, right? And it's a tool for us to be able to put to work, and that's what we'll do. So yeah, we're grateful to be able to raise that cash and do so from like a really great set of investors. But ultimately, money is just a tool. Fundraising, we all like to post about it. We did, of course, everybody does. We like to celebrate it, but really what I like to celebrate is like, how do we use that money and how do we win? And that's what matters. Fundraising is more of a milestone in my mind than it is an accomplishment. And it is a milestone that, raises the bar for yourself, and you have to now go jump higher than that bar, much higher than that bar.
Well, it's also a validation of your idea and your product and your vision, right?
Yes.
So
I guess on that topic, just on it, like it is validation. I think that like it's not a crypto thing; it's like a tech thing. We over celebrate fundraising, in my opinion, and I think that we should over celebrate building really successful businesses that provide a lot of value for as many people as possible, as many customers as possible. And I wish we celebrated those milestones in the same cachet as we do fundraising. I don't think we'll get there because I think people just like big numbers, and that's what gets engagement. But I think about that a lot. I'm like, cool, we raise money. I'm not gonna get too high on that. I'm gonna get really high if we use that money really, really, really successfully to grow the business and put Altitude in the hands of 100x more companies. That'll be the real validation.
Awesome. So if let's say I'm a crypto company, I run a DEX, for instance, or I built a prop AMM. I have employees. I work in Web3. What would Altitude enable for me? And what could I do with Altitude, which I otherwise could not? What is the product, basically?
Yeah, so I mean, like one great way to describe it is kind of like myself at Tensor, right? So when I was at Tensor, we had a series of different tools in our financial ops stack or our tech stack for FinOps. And so, we had squads, obviously, with lots of assets sitting on chain and a multi-sig. We used Wise for bill pay and for Forex to send money to counterparties across various currencies in various different countries. We used another platform to pay contractors across also a series of different countries. So we had.
Can I ask? So a part of the treasury was in tokens, in crypto tokens, but you were making payments in fiat, right?
Well, we were making payments in dollars or euro. Yeah, a lot of that was in stablecoin at Tensor, but also lots of it was in fiat. It depended the vendor, right? Some don't take stablecoins. Some only receive euro. Some will want to get it in some bank that I can only get you money to it through Swift. Some I can only get you money to it through ACH. Depends the counterparty, right? I also had a tool, the Canadian version of Ramp called Float, really great product. And we had a few Canadian banks. So we had like a series of different tools in this stack. What Altitude does is it collapses it. And so if I was at Tensor, what I would be doing is I would move everything to Altitude. It would be the place to hold my treasury and earn yield on my treasury. We have a great yield product inside of Altitude. We call Altitude Rewards. I would use it to do all my fiat payments. We have deep integrations across ACH, Swift, SEPA, Wire. I'd use it for Forex when I need to move money in US dollars or in euro. Beauty about doing Forex on chain is it's quite cheap compared to everywhere else. I literally just did a swap for Canadian dollars from US dollars so I could pay some of my personal taxes. It's very crazy how much the bank charges you to do a Forex swap. It's really, really, really like frustrating. I think that Forex is a huge opportunity on chain, and that's something we're going to really lean hard into with Altitude. Yeah, and then the other tools, you can collapse the stack. So you can hold your money, you can earn yield on your money, you can make fiat payments, you can make stable payments, and then you'll be able to do cards as well. And so instead of using 7 different tools, I would use one tool, and that's Altitude. And so to come back to your original question, which is like, hey, I am a CEO running a protocol with a series of employees, I'm making payments across the world, etc. The answer is come do business at Altitude. It's going to be the simplest way for you to manage your financial operations. You'll A, save a lot of money, but B, you'll save a lot of time and a lot of headache. You don't have to reconcile across like a series of different platforms. There's like a lot of accounting complications that come behind the scenes when you have money everywhere. By centralizing into a single ledger, it's a lot easier to do a single integration with QuickBooks so that you can just know where all your money is coming in, know where all your money is going out, and then put that into the accounting tools that you use to make sure that you can manage your business properly. And so this is what Altitude is great for, right? The centralization of a series of tools into one stack that you are in control of that allow you to do the things you need to do to run financial operations.
Oh, that's pretty wild. Not gonna lie. This sounds pretty good.
It's a robust product. Frankly, it's like, how do you even tell the story, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different pieces to it, right? Because we're really touching the various parts of what a CFO does, right? What a COO does if you don't have a CFO, or what the founder does if you don't have a head of finance or a head of ops that's overseeing these kind of things. And we've been kind of recently starting to talk a lot about it as a financial operating system built on stablecoin infrastructure, because that is fundamentally what it is, right? It's really an OS where you can operate your business. And what's really cool about programmable money is it's really well designed for agents. And so you'll start to see us lean very hard into what's possible on the backs of programmable monies from an agentic finance perspective later this year.
That's crazy. I used to be a freelancer when I went into Web3 full time, and I had such big problems getting, off-ramping in the Netherlands. It was crazy. I could not for the life of me easily receive USDC for, the work that I did, and then convert that into euros into my bank account. It was like...
So for example, if you were banked on Altitude as a contractor, right? Because assuming you have a business, it's for businesses, not for consumers. So you could KYB and onboard onto Altitude. You can receive your USDC, like give some of your address from Altitude. You could swap it to EURC for free instantly. And then you can off-ramp it. We take nothing on off-ramps. So on-ramps and off-ramps, 0 bips. Everywhere, you're largely paying, if you're lucky, 10 bips, but it's usually 20 plus, which at any degree of scale adds up a lot. I have a lot of firsthand experience with that from Tensor days. But in your scenario, you can receive your USDC, swap for free to EURC, and then you can off-ramp for free to wherever you can off-ramp it to, whatever bank in the Netherlands. And this is the future, obviously.
I really could have used this 2-3 years ago.
I don't know if the technology was mature enough 2-3 years ago, right? Like, it's also sometimes the investors like to say, why now? And it's like, well, the technology is mature enough, right? The regulatory landscape has shifted dramatically with like the various legislation in the US. And so I think this is why we're seeing the rapid adoption of stablecoins right now. It's why we're seeing the Larry Finks and the Jamie Dimons of the world come out and say like, this is where things are going. And so, we are, I think, in the right place at the right time.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going into this podcast, I was like, all right, I think I understand, but it's even more comprehensive than I initially thought, which is amazing. So you said there's a yield on holding, or is it like yield on a separate savings account, or what's the risk there, or where's the yield coming from? Angry geese meme.
Yes, you can earn APY on balances in Altitude. We have a product called Altitude Rewards, and at a very high level, the way that it works is it's with an integration with one of our partners, which is Bridge, which is a Stripe company. And when you move money into the rewards feature in Altitude, it is essentially backed one-to-one by T-bills that are held in, I believe, BlackRock and Fidelity. And so that's a partnership we have with Stripe. It's not a DeFi product. We don't currently have DeFi integrations within Altitude. So it is, I think, one of the more comforting ways for folks to earn APY on their balances. So that's how it works. Pretty simple. If you want to withdraw, you can withdraw. It's T+1. So you can withdraw today. It'll land in your operating account in Altitude tomorrow. Sometimes we see it happen faster. Sometimes it's instant depending on your size, but T+1 is kind of the standard. And yeah, I would say like 80% of idle balances sitting in the product are sitting in the yield bearing product. People really like it.
Very nice. And are there plans for DeFi integrations, or maybe for Solana teams to stake SOL somewhere, earn yield there, or?
We're exploring it. Yeah, we're exploring it.
All right.
Yeah, you can hold SOL in Altitude today. You can hold, so assets supported essentially like stablecoin. We have the reward product I just spoke to, and then you can hold SOL, you can hold CBBTC. And that's currently what we support. We're always thinking about how to expand that and what's the best way to expand it. There's obviously like a series of considerations to do it in a solid, secure, safe, trusted way. And that's really important when you're building a financial operations platform.
Nice. Do you guys operate a validator as well?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But like
Maybe
now I would say I don't believe so. No is the answer. If I'm somehow wrong, then whoops. But no is the answer.
Well, maybe you should. I would stake there. But yeah,
you know what? You got to focus. There's a lot of great validators out there right now. You got to stay focused. So
yeah, that's true. You don't want to do too many things at once. So you guys also do cards. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Not yet. I will leave it at that. But we will have announcements down the line. So for those tuning in, don't clip this one.
All right. Because I have the website open for Altitude. So the reason I asked, can I show the audience the website?
Yeah. So we just launched our new website in conjunction with the fundraise announcement today, which is like the team cooked. It's unbelievable. It's really, really, really amazing. I remember seeing it in Figma and I was like, wow, it's so cool. Like how cool is the piece of like land behind the UI? It's so cool. I don't know. I love it. I was like, this is such Minecraft energy, but like new age. I love it.
But I do see a card here. And
okay. There's more alpha on the website than I'm dropping here, I guess.
Oopsie. All right. Yeah. So
it's really soon. It's really soon.
All right. Nice. So I see a little UI with a dashboard, inbox, which is probably email integration or some messages.
Inbox is like everything centralized into one spot, right?
Nice.
You need to approve stuff. You need permissions that are changing. You need to move money. You want to know if you received money, so on and so forth. You can see kind of like a cool dashboard, but there's like a ton of features, as we spoke about before.
Nice.
And I think this is really like a big, this piece of the site. This is a lot of what we've been talking about, right? Altitude's not a better bank. It's not a bank, right? It's a different financial architecture, right? Stablecoins are at the core. You're in control of your money. Your treasury is programmable. And this opens the floor and the floodgates for like infinitely interesting experiences, which we are obviously going to bring to life.
Nice. I see agents here. So is AI ready?
It will be. I mean, it is, but in terms of how we're going to bring some cool stuff to life, I don't want to go too deep into that right now. We'll save that for another conversation. But yeah, we are doing some really cool work in that space.
Really nice. Yeah, the website looks amazing. Good job on that.
I added some comments. I didn't contribute as too much to it. It's the team. The team did a great job.
Well, kudos to the team. All right. So, what are your guys' current focus? What are you like zoned in on?
Altitude. Yeah, I think it's what we spoke about earlier, right? But we are currently laser focused on accelerating Altitude. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to ship. You will see over the next, honestly, for the rest of this year, we are going to be shipping at like an extremely high velocity. There's a lot of very cool stuff coming out to allow businesses to run their business on stablecoins, and that's really what we're all about. And I'm really excited to get the features that we're working on out the door. I think it's going to really help our customers do more, spend less, and save a lot of time. And yeah, it's a great product experience.
All right. So one of my thoughts is, well, I don't have a business, but I think this is really, really cool. When will this be available on a consumer level?
Yeah, it's something obviously like we've considered and are considering. I don't have a timeline for that. I'm not sure if we will 100% do it or not, but I think if we do it, we will do it exceptionally well, and we will make sure that it's something that would add a ton of value to a lot of consumers' lives. I think the consumer use case and the business use case, while there's of course a lot of overlap, like it's a Venn diagram, it's not 100% overlap. And so if we are to do it, you need to really think about it from a first principle standpoint, and you need to build it in a way that solves the problems of the consumer, which is very different than the problems of the business. And so maybe we'll get there.
And is it just Solana, or are you guys expanding into other ecosystems as well?
We will extend into a series of different ecosystems. We really think a lot about Altitude is a product to run your business on stablecoins. It's financial infrastructure, it's financial operating system. We really believe we're continuing to head into a world where the chain lives under the hood, right? Blockchains are unbelievable. They're incredible technology. But I think crypto obsesses about blockchains. I think the business user wants to obsess about how to run my business more efficiently. How do I save more money and spend less money? How do I get less clipped on fees on all the different tools that I'm using? How do I centralize my systems so that I can do more with less? How can I save a lot of time? How can I focus on building my product and putting it in my consumers or my customers' hands? I'm not sure that your typical business operator is like laser focused on X, Y, and Z blockchain. I think that we love Solana. You almost can think about like our backend from a ledgering perspective and an on-chain perspective is Solana. But we will very thoughtfully integrate with many chains as it makes sense in the way that we can really build an elegant experience.
Any in particular you want to name drop, or not yet?
No, not yet.
All right.
Soon.
I tried. I'm sorry.
As we say in crypto, soon.
All right, cool. Yeah. So you briefly touched up on how much your bank charges you for Forex exchange. And yeah, crypto, there's almost 0 bips on exchanging stablecoins. How much does the average bank charge?
I mean, today they were trying to charge me 1.5%.
1.5%.
I negotiated with the manager and I got it down to like 50 to 75 bips. I just gave up at a certain point. I'm like, forget it. Just click the button and move on. Like I have to go to the branch. It's so wild. To do it online, you get like the worst rate. Then you go in person, you get a better rate. Then you ask for the manager, you get the best rate. And I'm sure there's a way to get an even better rate. You need like private banking, but I haven't made it yet where I have private banking.
That's
so
crazy.
It's crazy. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was saying to someone, I was like, it's so obvious how this has to change, and it's like so painful. And crypto rails are like really good to solve this problem, and so yeah, we're gonna do that. We gotta solve that problem.
So yeah, not to shill or anything, but I'm with one of the more popular neobanks, and I pay a $600 per year subscription fee. But yeah, it allows me to exchange without a fee. At least they claim that I exchange without a fee.
Did you ever look at the posted rate versus the their posted rate versus the market rate?
I have, and once it was really, really close. But I will. So
yeah, keep an eye on it, because that's where they find their margin.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with margin. It's just like so much margin, and yeah.
And it's slow, right? I mean,
You can.
you need clearinghouses in traditional banking to exchange all this money. So they need to build in a better margin because some currencies can be volatile. For instance, if a country would start a war in another country for no good reason. Yeah, that's all right. That's Crazy. Yeah, I think on chain is more transparent and verifiable, and there's a lot of fuckery going on in banking.
Yeah. I think the entire society right now is moving towards more transparency. I think even AI is accelerating the path to transparency right now across many different industries. And yeah, I think we will hopefully continue to move into a more transparent world. I think that's better for businesses. I think it's better for people and consumers. So yeah, we'll do our part.
Should people in the banking industry be fearful of what is coming, in your opinion?
I think the folks in the industry that are the smartest know it's coming and they're starting to put energy towards it. And I think the most forward-thinking companies are already working on how they can incorporate stablecoins into their business. And I hope they're successful because I think rising tide will lift all boats. I think the market is astronomically large. Like all businesses is a big market. It's great. Like when I see Ramp integrate with stablecoins, that's really good for the market. I'm glad to see that. I don't see that as a negative. I see that as like an extremely great thing for stablecoin adoption in general, and the legitimacy of stablecoins and the acceleration of the industry as a whole. Um, you know, the banks of yesterday that are trying to like fight stablecoins, they're gonna have trouble with that. I don't think that's gonna age really well. And so I think, should they be fearful? It's a business strategy question.
All right, but it's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess, yeah, that's my answer is like the really forward-thinking business strategists running company A, B, and C, like they have nothing to be fearful for because like they understand where the tide is moving and they're jumping in the boat. Then there's a lot of folks that either are ignoring it or whatever it might be. And yeah, I mean, disruption is coming and it is accelerated.
Nice. Last week I had the Realms team on.
Cool.
And they asked how important are stablecoins for the future of crypto, and that is, we have been talking about the subject, but this explicit question: how important are they, and are they important?
Yeah, I would say it's like one of the core use cases of crypto, and I would say they're extremely important to answer the question very directly. I would say that they have like extremely strong PMF, and I think we are always hunting for PMF in the crypto world. I think we've seen a lot of cycles come and a lot of cycles go, and a lot of interesting ideas get big really quickly and then go away just as quickly. Stablecoins are one of these things that are like the adoption curve is just like continuing to move up and to the right and accelerate. We will continue to see that grow over time, and I think when we zoom out in 10 years from now and we look at the chart and we look at like up to 2026, it's going to look like a blip on a massive chart. And I would say if we care about mass adoption and usage of blockchains, which everyone claims they care about, stablecoins are one of the very, very, very important pieces of the adoption of this technology globally. And I think stablecoins are almost like proving how important blockchains are. We've been looking for that, and we've really found that in stables. We found it in a few other places too, but stables is one of the really important use cases.
When will we replace the old monetary system and stablecoins with the Bitcoin standard? And will we ever? What is your personal thought on it?
I have exposure to the potential of that being possible, but I do not have the. I do not believe I know what will happen or not. I think that I'm not sure. I love Bitcoin personally, and I've been into Bitcoin since I bought the top of 2017, which now turned out not to be the top, and that worked out in the long run. But for a few years there, it didn't feel so good. But I was a big enough believer to buy the dip, as we say, and so I would say from a BTC perspective, like I'm long personally, and I believe in the thesis and I believe in the theory, and I think it will be increasingly important in a increasingly how do you say it, like polarized world, I think it'll be increasingly important as we become even potentially a multi-planetary species. I think that digital value that you can hold and that you can self-custody, that is not controlled by any individual state. We've seen through history, like every state eventually turns into some sort of bad actor. It's like never not happened at some point. And so, and the money doesn't go in the right direction when that happens. If you look at the charts of, Empire A, B, C, D, and E. And so what will happen in the very long term of like humanity, I'm not sure, but it feels like Bitcoin probably is important. Will we leave the dollar standard? Like, I'm not going to make that bet in my lifetime. I don't think so. But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin won't become increasingly important regardless. And so, yeah, I don't know.
All right. You heard it here first. Financial advice. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Not financial advice.
Okay.
All right.
Exactly.
Next week, Accelerate Consensus in Miami. The week after, I have Vitorpi from Dark Lake Fi on.
Nice.
I passed the question from Realms to you. How important are stablecoins? Is there a question I can forward to Vitorpi from you?
How important is privacy?
How important is privacy? Is there privacy integration coming to Altitude?
We care a lot about privacy.
So no comment. Can neither confirm nor deny.
Neither confirm nor deny, but we care a lot about privacy, and we think that privacy is really important.
You heard it here first. Shall I do another question, random question, which you can neither confirm nor deny? Is it going to be with a certain German team, or
I can't go into
you
details.
can't. All right, cool. Cool. Yeah, I think that's one of the big privacy is one of the big problems with blockchains, basically, because everything is public.
Transparency on one hand is amazing, and on the other hand, there's challenges that come with it. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Listen, Mertz pilled me as a personal person on Zcash. Like, I love the thesis. It's a good thesis.
All right.
But I think, yeah, totally. There's a place for full transparency. There's a place for privacy. Ultimately, everything has to settle in a verifiable way on chain. But there's a way to do it in a really elegant way, and we're gonna make sure that we do that in a really elegant way.
All right. Thanks so much for being on. Any final messages to anyone who's listening, or can we wrap it up?
Open an account on Altitude, and if you have product feedback, I'd love to hear it. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me, Steve.
What does it cost to become an Altitude user?
Altitude's free right now.
So you can get an account, and you're not paying anything to you guys.
Yep.
That's great. So if you work in Web3 and you're in the Solana ecosystem and you run a business, there's literally no argument to be made to be not a Altitude customer.
I agree.
All right. Thanks so much for being on. This was this week's episode. Next week, we're not going to have a live stream, probably, unless something really weird happens. And the week after, I have Vitorpi from Dark Lake Fi, and you can find it here on X, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks so much for tuning in.